You ever wake up on a Saturday morning, coffee in hand, feeling like today's the day you might finally have your life together, only to look up and realize the HOA president is stalking your house? Like a vulture in a pastel pink polo? Yeah, welcome to Harmony Creek, where the only thing more ruthless than the dandelions is Brenda and her clipboard of doom. I swear, that woman is the reason caffeine exists. I was just trying to enjoy my one peaceful moment. Good beans, the kind you grind yourself, just sitting there on my front porch, talking myself into mowing the lawn, and then I saw her. Full uniform, blinding white visor, shorts you could land a plane on, and that clipboard clutched like she was the high priestess of some ancient suburban cult. And, naturally, trailing behind her was her tiny, evil-looking white poodle. Yeah, his name is Chairman. I'm not making this up. That dog is either the muscle or the brains, I haven't decided. She wasn't just walking him. No, she was on patrol, making her rounds, the HOA's own Terminator. I watched her stop at Bill and Melinda's place 2 doors down. Out came the tape measure. Yes, she literally wears a tape measure on her hip like some kind of mall cop, and she squatted down to measure the oil stain under Bill's '78 Mustang. Too dark, I muttered. That's at least a $50 violation, Bill. Living here is like being trapped in a homeowners association-themed escape room. Brenda's the game master, and let me tell you, she loves her job. I've seen her find a family for mixing inflatable snowmen with a classic nativity scene. She measured my neighbor's sunflowers, announced anything over 6 feet was a spite fence, and blocked the light and air easement. There's nowhere to hide. I even tried ducking behind my porch shrubs. Didn't matter. She spotted me instantly, visor glinting in the sun like a sniper scope. Her smile? The kind reptiles practice in the mirror. It never touches her eyes. I considered bolting inside but figured she'd just tape the notice to my door. I could wave, but that felt like inviting a vampire in. So I did the neighborly hostage pose, stood there, mug in hand, pretending I was relaxed. "Morning, Greg," she chirped, voice like high-pitched gravel. "Brenda." I nodded, feeling like a man greeting his executioner. She walked right up, shoes squeaking on the driveway, stopped at the bottom of my porch, and produced a beige envelope from her clipboard. The official color of, "I'm about to ruin your week." Never a potluck invite. Never a, "Hey, welcome to the neighborhood. Here's a fruit basket." Always, "You are in violation of Article 4, Section 8. She tucked it in my screen door handle and gave it 2 taps with her bony finger. Tap, tap, like a summons. Then she turned, squeaked back down the drive, Chairman sniffing my mailbox for signs of noncompliance. I sat there, coffee suddenly bitter, staring at that envelope. Maybe it was a mistake, I thought. But Brenda doesn't make mistakes. She makes corrections. I sighed, got up, and tore it open. Paper cut be damned. Harmony Creek Homeowners Association Official Notice of Violation. Article 4, Section 8. Failure to maintain exterior cleanliness and aesthetic upkeep. Specifics: rain gutters on the north and east. Sides are visibly clogged with leaves, pine needles, and unsightly natural debris. Unsightly natural debris. That's Brenda's poetry right there. Remedy: ensure all gutters are fully and completely cleaned of all contents. Compliance deadline: 14 days from date of notice. Penalty: $50 fine, doubling weekly until cured. She wasn't wrong. My house is an old 2-story colonial, and the ancient oak out front had just finished its annual leaf apocalypse. My gutters were less gutter and more long, thin terrarium. It was autumn. Everyone's gutters are full. That's just how nature works. Besides, the real reason I hadn't cleaned them was, well, the ladder incident of 2023. I have this ancient, rickety aluminum extension ladder. Last fall, I was up there scooping out slimy leaf sludge when this fat, aggressive squirrel decided to use the ladder as his own highway. He ran up my leg, paused on my shoulder to cuss me out, and then leapt onto the roof. I, being the brave soul that I am, performed a move best described as panicked interpretive dance. The ladder wobbled, I grabbed the gutter, and next thing I knew, I was dangling 20 feet in the air, feet flailing. My neighbor Chuck just stood there watering his plants. "Need a hand there, Greg?" Didn't even blink. I had to shimmy to the dormer window, kick my way through the screen, and tumble into my attic, covered in sweat, gutter slime, and shame. That ladder? Still lying behind the garage. Haven't touched it since. So Brenda's letter wasn't just a hassle. It was a demand that I face my trauma. 14 days. I crumpled the letter, stared at my gutters, and weighed my options. Pay $400 for someone to clean them? Or pay the fine? $50, then $100, then $2, then $4. By week 4, I'd be out $800 a month. Brenda had me cornered, or so she thought. Unsightliness is in the eye of the beholder, Brenda, I said, just to make myself feel better. Instead of cleaning the gutters, I went into full productive procrastination. I deep dived into gutter cleaning on the internet, called Gutter Guts Incorporated. Logo's a muscle man yanking a tree out of a gutter. That's a premium job, 2-story with heavy oak debris, $6.50 minimum. I nearly choked. Next, I looked up gutter cleaning robots, sad little machines that always get stuck and need rescuing. Shop vac attachments. All the reviews featured guys falling off ladders. I was defeated. That's when I pulled out the HOA bylaw binder. 3 inches thick. 300 pages of joylessness. There it was. Section 8. Gutters must be free of unsightly debris. Not empty. Just free of unsightly debris. That's when the dangerous idea hit me. What if the stuff in my gutter wasn't unsightly? What if it wasn't debris at all? I flipped to landscaping. Residents are encouraged to install and maintain ornamental plantings, flower beds, and shrubbery to enhance aesthetics. My gutters? Full of rich, leaf-based compost, prime planting real estate. I could hear myself practicing in the living room. This is not a clogged gutter. This is a high-altitude linear planter. It sounded insane, which meant it was perfect. I wasn't going to clean my gutters. I was going to plant them. Searched Craigslist, skipped all the glossy ads, and found Sal's spontaneous landscapes. We dig it. You name it. We plant it or haul it. Tie-dye pickup full of ferns in the ad. I called. Sal answered. Sounded about 22, way too energetic. Bro, unconventional is my middle name. Last week I built a koi pond in a guy's living room. I explained the gutter garden plan. He went dead silent. Then he whispered, Are you sticking it to your HOA? Is it that obvious? I asked. A gutter garden is an anarchy. I am so in, he said. He'd do it for $600, cheaper than Gutter Guts, and could start Monday with his crew, Sketch and Peanut. Monday morning, I was shaking. Sal showed up in a massive, ancient pickup painted turquoise and yellow. His crew, Sketch and Peanut, skinnier than him, in beanies and cargo shorts. They hauled pro ladders, bags of soil, trays of succulents, toolbox held together with hope. Sal greeted me holding a pink plastic flamingo and a coffee mug that said plant dads are the best dads. Let's get this sky garden built. He cheered. They got to work. Sketch up on the roof, Peanut hauling soil, Sal directing the madness. They weren't so much cleaning as transforming, mixing the leaf gunk with new soil, reinforcing hangers, planting succulents, draping ornamental grass. It was chaos. Ska music from the truck, drill whirring, shouting and laughter. Chuck came out to get his mail, just stared, shook his head, and went back inside. That's when I felt the cold chill. You just know when Brenda's coming. Sure enough, she arrived, power walking, visor down, rage setting her jaw. She stopped, stared at the truck, the roof, the Miracle Grow bags. Greg, she barked, what is the meaning of this? I played it cool, just complying. Brenda, remedying the situation. She started yelling about structural modifications and mosquito swamps. Sal, covered in soil, looked like a garden gnome after a bar fight. Morning, ma'am, he said, just helping with his high-altitude linear zeros cape. Very eco-friendly. Brenda sputtered. You're clogging his gutters. You're going to rot his fascia board. Sal just smiled. No, ma'am, these are drought-tolerant succulents. We drilled extra drainage holes. Drains better than the old leaves. Then, for the kicker, we all looked over at Brenda's own house. Her gutters were sprouting a healthy maple sapling. Her face went crimson. She stormed off. By noon, my roof line was a living rainbow of succulents, ornamental grass draping over the edge, and every 5 feet, a tiny pink flamingo sentinel. It was malicious compliance at its finest. Car slowed down. Chuck came over with a beer. Greg, that is art. Karen loves it. Says it's whimsical. I say it's brave. Brenda, meanwhile, was already marching up and down the street, probably calling the HOA lawyers. 3 days of tense, silent peace. The plants thrived, and I sat on my porch like a local legend, or lunatic. Then the red envelope showed up, taped to my door like a biohazard sign. $700 in fines, a cease and desist order, threats of a lien on my house, and demands to remove the illegal rooftop farm. My hands shook. I went back to the binder, checked every cited article. They'd quoted the wrong sections, made up new offenses. So I took a photo of my beautiful gutter garden, flamingos and all, typed up a polite, very pointed email to the HOA board, and disputed everything. Minutes later, blue and red lights flashed across my living room. The police. Brenda was on the sidewalk, vibrating with smug energy. Officers Miller and Kent approached. Got a call about a structurally compromised roof and aggressive gardening. Brenda started ranting about roof rats and vermin. Officer Miller, already tired, sighed. Ma'am, HOA bylaws are not criminal code. Tacky is not a 911 emergency. Officer Kent, barely holding it together, asked, Are those tiny pink flamingos? I deadpanned. They're ornamental, officer. For curb appeal. The cops left with a quick thumbs up. Brenda was left standing, mouth open, rage simmering. The emergency board meeting summons arrived the next day. Beige carpet, fluorescent lights, packed house. Brenda at the front, flanked by her treasurer Bob and secretary Sarah. Brenda presented Guttergate, a threat to our community's integrity, a slideshow starring my gutter, a cartoon rat, and Officer Kent's thumbs-up photo. She called for legal action and liens. Then it was my turn. I calmly asked Brenda to read the original violation, unsightly natural debris. Asked Sarah to read the landscaping rule, succulents aren't trees. Even Bob had to admit the bylaw encouraged ornamental plantings. Aesthetics is subjective, I said. That's just like your opinion, man. The room snickered. Brenda seethed. Suddenly, the door opened. In walked a woman I'd never seen, late 60s, floral scarf. Mrs. Gable, president of the Mainville County Garden Club, just dropping off an award, Yard of the Month for Lot 34. Innovative use of linear planting space. She held up a plaque. Silence. Then Chuck laughed. Karen laughed. The back of the room erupted. Even Sarah grinned. Brenda, stripped of power by the head of the garden club, adjourned the meeting and bolted. Bob stammered. I moved to dismiss all fines. Sarah seconded. I walked home with the plaque, staked the Yard of the Month sign right in my front yard. Next morning, Brenda marched past, eyes on her clipboard, refusing to look at my house, the award, or the glorious gutter garden. The war was over. My gutters were, and I quote, sightly, definitely not clean. I raised my mug to the nearest pink flamingo. They say you can't fight City Hall, but HOA? All it takes is a stubborn attitude, a loophole, and a landscaper named Sal. So here's my question. Where do you draw the line between rules and living your life? Ever had a run-in with a power-tripping HOA or neighbor? Drop your stories below. Let's see who's got the wildest tale. And hey, if you ever need help turning your violations into a victory garden, you know who to call.